Good morning, good afternoon, Alejandro.
Hello, Abdul.
Yeah,
Nice
how
to
are you
see
doing
you.
today? Yeah, nice to see
Pretty
you
good.
too.
We're
So, how is?
having we're having an okay day here in the Netherlands.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, weather
So,
tends not to be very nice here most of the time, but today is looking so, I guess.
yeah. So great. Thank you, Ale, to join us today's session. So, let me give you a quick introduction. So, we had a fantastic sessions today, by the way. Okay, so we talk about various topics, and your topic is very interesting because you talk about small and mid-sized organizations, how you want to close the gap. So that is simply very important. So the title for Alejandro is driving growth, empowering strategies for small business success. This is fantastic. Okay. Now, Alejandro, maybe you can also introduce yourself after myself. Alejandro is experienced executive with 20 plus year experience in strategy consulting, business development, and project management. A unique combination of things. So, proven track record of driving profitability in energy, industrial, and consumer goods sectors through a numerical analysis and stakeholder management. So fantastic. So, multicultural background with education from top universities in Europe, Latin America, and US. Okay. So, skilled in leading regional teams of 100 plus, collaborating with C-level executives. Oh, I will. I look forward to hear Alejandro. So, thank you for joining the session today, and you can just start your with a quick introduction from your side, and so let me stay and hear a very interesting topic from you, Alejandro. Over to you.
Thank you, Abdul. I think well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to give my presentation. I I feel that what I can provide your customers or the people who are participating in this session is like you give all these wonderful tools and software and things that really help all these businesses thrive. And but I'm kind of like the counterpart of you guys. I of course I'm one of the first persons who's gonna recommend your software, which is amazing. I've already received your trainings and stuff like so. I think it's wonderful. But I have to do the other part and kind of like take your customers or our customers through their potential journey of how they can grow and they can become successful at the end. So it's part of developing this strategy, and I see how wonderfully we come together and we can use your tools, your software to actually implement them and make sure they reach the success you're looking for. Um, so I'll start with the presentation. I need to see how I put my slides in.
Yeah.
So
So,
let me just. I think it's present.
yeah, you can just click the present button. Okay. So then you can go to the screen share.
So it says your
So
computer.
you keep the presentation in the presentation mode. Just okay. And then there will be one window, dedicated window for your presentation. So you can
Uh,
choose from here. Yeah.
wait.
You logged out. Jenny? Yeah.
Something happened. I was trying to.
No problem. This is today actually our program is also is in big trouble because of the technical things. LinkedIn have streaming issues and anyways, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, please go
I
ahead, Alejandro.
I'm
So you
trying to
can just
find.
keep your presentation in presentation mode. Then
I have it in PowerPoint, so I'm trying to.
PDF.
So I share
Any-
screen. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, you share screen.
Okay.
Okay. But only thing is, if your PowerPoint is in presentation mode already, then you can select that window. That will be easier. Keep the PowerPoint in presentation mode and then select it.
Okay.
See it? Can you help me?
Is it presenting already?
Not really. So if it is there, it will come up. You click share, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you present, and then you select share button. Then you have your presentation.
Hello, Alejandro.
Yes.
Yeah, hi. This is Deep. So I'll just try to help you out. So once you click on present, so firstly your PPT is already open, right?
Yeah, it's already open.
Okay. And once you open the PPT, to get it into presentation mode, you have to click on this little glass slideshow. It is in slideshow mode, right? Already.
It is. It is. Wait.
Okay, fine. So now you need to click on share screen, and then once you click on share screen again, you will have three options: Chrome tab, window, and entire screen. Do you see them?
It took me that I need to update some security and privacy things. Maybe that's a problem.
That shouldn't be a problem. And moreover, you have shared the PDF file with me. So if I had your presentation, I would have done it. So let me try to upload your PDF file and see how it looks.
Oh, it says I have to restart Chrome. Okay.
Yeah, I think it is. It froze. The browser froze, I guess.
Yeah, I'll restart Chrome again and see if this helps. I'll join again and give me 30 seconds. You're presenting, right?
Yes, yes, I am presenting.
Okay, let me do if because if so you don't have to continue with the slides. Let me
Yeah,
just give me 30
yes,
seconds
that's
and see if we can fix this.
no problem.
Okay.
Yes, Alejandro, if you can try now.
Yes, I'm trying now.
Yeah, I got it. So I'm just so see. You have chosen. Yeah, got it. Yeah, you can operate it now.
Can you see the screen? Because I have two screens. I don't know which one's showing, the presentation one or the one for me.
So the presentation one, which is in full screen,
Okay.
the one which yeah.
Okay, great. So we can start now. Thanks. Sorry
Yes,
because of the
yes.
technical issues, but yeah.
No
Okay,
problem.
great. So I'll start. Okay, so this is me, and I think Abdul already gave a small introduction of who I am, and you can read a little bit about me over in the slide there. But instead of reading you what I do, I want to start with why I do this. So we've been doing this for a few years now, and this everything started about a decade ago. I was working with a great friend of mine who's presenting sometime later this evening, and he was a chief strategy officer back then of this multinational company, and we got called to make a turnaround for this company. What we saw basically is that they were struggling, of course, and they had already hired this one of these big companies that do consulting. You probably know them. I'm not going to mention them, but you probably know them. And what we found is, like, after they spent thousands of dollars, and they had given them the CEO had this really nice big book with a very nice paper, very well printed, and there was the strategy there they had sought up for this company. And of course, they were still struggling. After thousands of dollars, spending a fortune, they weren't doing well. And so we thought we could do things differently. Um, and we thought what we could do with to help a company like this one. And we came up to by thinking we could do this in a close and personal way, give them a close and personal experience, and something simple, because we they had this really nice book I told you, but none of the organizations really knew what to do. I'm not saying their strategies were bad or their recommendations were bad, but they weren't getting executed at all. The company continued struggling for a few years, and they had to they had to hire people like us who were um, maybe not coming from this big four company, but okay, we started from something small, and we thought we could do something simple, and we could go back to the core and help these companies really thrive in the long run. So that's why we changed and why we started everything that we're doing right now. And so I'll try to take you through this journey we do with our customers, and the thing is that we love to see these companies succeed. Um, so we're not coming up with something really state of the art, something. We're just taking them back to the core, helping them find their way, and at the end be successful. And we're focused. And as we say in many of these companies, smaller ones. I come from a country called Guatemala. I don't know if everybody has been to it. It's a small country in Central America, and most of the companies in Central America are very small. Um, I don't have the statistics from my country, and so I'm sharing some of the U.S., but still, it's kind of the same thing. If you see here from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, you can see that there are 31.7 million small businesses that make up 99.9 of all the businesses in the United States. So if you see most of the companies, even in the U.S., this big country, kind of follow the same thing as we see in my country. Um, so most of these companies are very small and they're struggling. 90% of all businesses fail in the long run. And so this is our market. These are the companies we want to focus on, because this 0.1 companies are already successful. They're doing great. But we see that probably in nearly a quarter of new businesses that come up every year, they struggle and they don't make it through. And so we want to change this, and that's part of the purpose we found and the things that we love, and we love to see these companies thrive. But there's a problem. I mean, you see year over year that these companies, the statistics don't change. As you see there, the statistics seem to remain the same. If you see the Bureau, the information from the Bureau, every year it's pretty much the same. On the other hand, we have 10% of these companies that at the end, they do succeed. So we want to make this difference. I've told you, the big consulting firms have been there for decades. And as I state here, consultants, academics develop numerous new management and strategic frameworks, models, and concepts every year, but things are the same every time. So there's where we thought we can do this difference, and I'm trying to introduce you to this kind of the things we want to make. And if you ask most of the companies or most of the failed people that have run businesses that did not succeed, most of them will tell you three things: either they were undercapitalized, or they had the wrong people in the boat, or they even state that they had unfavorable market conditions. But the thing is this really the reason that these 90% of the companies are failing time to time? And I want to start with a small story that probably everybody knows, and you've probably seen it in TED Talks and everything. But that's why I want to make a point. To the left, you can see a picture. I don't know if you recognize this guy, but if you don't, I'll help you a little bit. This is Samuel Pierpont Langley, and he was given $50,000 by the War Department to figure out the flying machine. Of course, we're talking this more than a century ago, and everybody was going after the next big thing. Of course, we now have, artificial intelligence. Everybody's going through it. So this was kind of the same, but more than 100 years ago. And they got the money. So money wasn't a problem. They had money from the government. This guy held a seat at Harvard and worked at the Smithsonian and was extremely well connected. He knew all the big minds of the day. He hired the best minds money could find, and the market conditions were fantastic. Of course, I'm telling you, I'm repeating, this was the AI back then. But on the other hand, maybe you do know these two people, and these guys were located a few hundred miles away. Their name was Orville and Wilbur Wright, and they had none of the things that this other guy had. Were they undercapitalized? Well, they didn't get the $50,000 from the government, and they paid for the dream with the proceeds from the bicycle shop. So you had these two two guys with this little company who worked the bicycle shop, and they were trying to build this big next thing in the world. Did they have the wrong people? Well, no one in the Wright brothers team had a college education, and neither they did. Were the market conditions bad? Not necessarily. As I told you, this was the next big thing more than 100 years ago. And as I told you a little bit, I like to empower our customers. And if you can see, I'm including the references of each slide, so you guys can look it up. And this is nothing new. This is public information that's in the internet. There are many books that I will cite, or research papers that I'll be citing here in this presentation. So you can Google them up, look it up in Google Scholar and PubMed. And this is information that's there. So this comes from one of my personal favorite authors, and he's one of the greatest tech talkers. And now we know, of course, before we go there, is like everybody knows the outcome, right? So who failed and who succeeded? And everybody knows the story. I don't have to repeat it. Of course, if everybody knows a little bit of their history, the Wright brothers were the first people to actually have a flying machine across the Atlantic. So what really made the difference? As I told you, one of my favorite authors, Simon Sinek, says the difference was that Orwell and Wilbur were driven by a cause, by a purpose, by a belief. They believed that if they could figure out this flying machine, they could change the course of the world. So again, what was the answer? What was the difference between these guys and this other person who had all the money, all the resources, all the right strategies, and nothing seemed to be an obstacle for him? But as I said before, and Simon Sinek says it several times, it's purpose. It's the purpose. So Simon Sinek says always start with a why, and because we know every organization knows what they do. They know what their products are. They know what they're selling. Anyone you ask them, they know, okay, I'm selling you this pencil, this cell phone, I'm selling you this or that. So everybody knows, and it's easy to state what they do. Now we go a little bit further, and if you ask them, do they know how they do it? Yeah, well, some of them might know, because these are the things you do to get your products out there. Is that could be your value proposition, your, I don't know, your strategy, everything. But what very few organizations really know or they can articulate is why they do what they do. So again, I tell you, revenues, profits, salaries, and other monetary measurements are simply results of what we do. The why is about our contribution to impact and serve others. So the why inspires us. And of course, I don't want to seem like I'm repeating Simon Sinek, even though he's one of my favorite authors. I've already told you, but this is pretty much supported by all the research you can do and all the papers you find and all the academics. So I'm citing a few of them that I really like, and of course, I'm attaching them to the presentation. Which probably, if you, I don't know if this is going to be shared or not, you can write me directly and ask for the slides. I can share them with you, and I can provide all the references or other references you might like. But I like, for example, these guys. First of all, Davis, the one in the top, Davis and his team, they made this quite good, amazing study. And they were studying why schools in the United States they did better than others, and they sought out to do this really complete research to see why some were thriving and others were struggling. And their conclusion is easy. It says mission statements unify organizations behind a core purpose, streamline decision making, and provide the groundwork for strategic planning. So this was amazing. It's something else that someone else comes, and this was done in 2006. But if you go a little bit further, also you can go to Mullane, for example. This guy made a big study of the impact of mission statements when they are used properly. And I think the key word is here, properly. And his study from 2002 says that mission and vision statements can be used to shape a mutual and collective sense of purpose and serve as agenda through which employees' emphasis is created. So as I found in their study also is that when people had this purpose and sense and they properly implemented the mission and vision, things were working out quite nice, and you got these employees really worked up, and the people were not working because of paycheck and counting hours, but they really found how and why they wanted to do this. And of course, I can also cite one of my other personal favorite authors, and this is a staple in business schools, and probably everybody who's listening to this presentation has heard of them or maybe even read their books. And it's called Built to Last. And these guys say that mission and vision statements tend to enhance motivation, shape attitude and behavior, cultivate high levels of commitment, and ultimately positively impact employee performance. So if you have good employees and they are all performing perfectly, probably this is going to lead you to a good success. Okay, but not stopping there. And as I told you, there's plenty of information of this that talk you about mission statements and everything. And people tend to underestimate this. But I can continue. And as, for example, if you read what Forbes and Cena wrote in 2006, where they studied individual hospitals in the U.S., they made this really good benchmark of why some of these hospitals were doing way better than the others. And what they came up with is they said that in order to establish a common purpose, inspire, and motivate personnel in the business, SMEs, or small and mid-sized enterprises, need to increase the usage of mission and vision statements. Also, we can go to Ireland HIT, where they tried to really define what a good mission statement was. And their conclusion says that an effective mission statement describes the firm's fundamental and unique purpose. Developing effective mission statements can contribute to increase a firm's overall performance. And this study is not new. This is nothing that has revolutionized everything. I mean, this is more than 20 years ago. This was in 1992. And as I told you before, we continue to see the statistics that they don't change, even though we see in this new strategy, we have AI now. But we can see this has been around for a few years now. And the last paper I would like to cite is from Desmond and company, because this was really interesting. They made this meta-analysis for 20 years of studies, and you can see the reference right in the left. And what they came up with is that they say that research indicates that a clear mission and vision statement can enhance business performance by providing guidance for decision-making, motivating employees, and fostering a shared sense of purpose. So if you see this guy over here, I think this is the typical guy we see as an employee from many of our clients or customers. And if you can read it, it says, I have no idea what our mission statement is. And at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. But this is so typical. I mean, many of our customers, you go to their front offices and you go in where the reception is, and they had this big, huge banner saying what their mission and vision statements are. And they probably have it with these nice pictures and everything. But if you stand there for maybe at 8 a.m. when people are coming in to work, and you ask any of the people who are coming in and you ask them what the vision and mission statements are, they probably even don't know. And if they don't know them, they probably don't even feel it. And that's not really drive them. So what I tell you, and when I take my customers through this journey, is like they need to find a purpose. So the first part of this journey, as I tell you, is like we tell our customers they had to find a purpose for their organization. They had to formulate or articulate a purpose or a mission statement that everybody understands. You don't have these employees running around that they're just working for a paycheck. They need to know what they're working for. They need to remember it, not by heart, but maybe know what they're doing and really get to own it. When this happens, believe me, people sense their work has true meaning, and they're going to do everything to make it happen. Just like the Wright brothers and the people who worked with them, they made this flying machine happen. Whereas the other guy who had all the resources, he didn't make it. But as I tell you, good mission statements, and as I told you from the studies we saw before, many companies go through the strategic process. They do it and they frame it, and then in the interest of their offices, but they're not being owned. So the key here is finding a purpose, really owning it, and really transmitting it. So good mission statements are simple, powerful, and emotive. Kind of like the 3 suggestions I would make is make them short, unambiguous, and meaningful. And as I told you, you can see many of these examples. Reference Peterson from his book, Entrepreneur and Leadership. And he cites some of the examples that are very common. I guess everybody in this presentation has heard about Disney. Their mission statement says to entertain, inform, and inspire people around the globe through the power of unparalleled storytelling. People who know Amazon as well. I mean, Jeff Bezos started this company around the .com era, and so it hasn't been that long ago, but suddenly they're the largest retailer in the world. And their mission statement is short and ambiguous and meaningful, and I repeat it. So it says to be the Earth's most customer-centric company. And many of you also know Nike, and they say to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. So this is part of what we do in the first part of the journey, and to driving and, as I told you, empowering the companies to really be successful at the end. Okay, but now we move a little bit further and we continue our journey. We find that 95% of a company's employees are either unaware of or do not understand its strategy. And this from another great authors, probably as told you, many of you might know them. This is a staple in business schools. And it comes from Robert Kaplan and David Norton, which are the ones who created the balanced scorecard. But of course, they found that 95% of the company's employees don't know what the strategy is. So this becomes very, very interesting, how the strategy is so important to actually achieving success. So you have to build a strategy. I'm going to cover you a little bit through the journey. And according to Edmonstone and Havergal, which was a paper written in 1992, says that a strategy is the methodology that asks how a mission is to be achieved. So of course we started with a mission, and now we have to see how we do it. So seeing the strategy as a means by which organizations seek to fulfill their mission or purpose. So we'll be talking about purpose again. So how are we going to do it? Of course, our main customers, I told you, are SMEs, and I usually, you can have strategies, marketing strategies, digital marketing strategies, distribution strategies. But for me, and I've put them here in order as how I prioritize them. I would start, of course, with number one, which is sales. I know many people say, yeah, the bottom line is the most important. And of course it is. It is. The bottom line is always very important. But what really drives everything is sales. If you want to be successful and you need to grow and you want to grow these small businesses, you start with selling. And why? Because sales is indispensable to cover expenses. And it's what yields profits that can be used to reinvest in the business later on. The second point I would go and highlight is infrastructure. Without it, business will quickly hit its limits, and of course, they'll miss growth opportunities in the long run. So the second part would be focusing on your strategy, on your infrastructure. And the third in order of priority is the part of knowledge, and make sure that everybody who works for you knows what they do and what to expect in return. And just to support this, everybody knows this formula, and this is the DuPont analysis. So it's also a staple from business schools. And of course, you can see all these, big ratios and nitty-gritty financial indicators you might have. But if you go all the way to the top, if you want to reach profitability, everybody knows that if you get your margin, you multiply it by your productivity, and you multiply it by the leverage, that gives you profitability. So of course, I tell you why to start with sales. If you know how to calculate margin, you divide profits divided by sales, and you calculate your productivity. Productivity is calculated dividing sales divided by assets. So you see how important sales are to drive profitability. And I told you also about infrastructure, which can be translated into assets. They're part of your productivity and your leverage. So if you got these two very important pieces in line, pretty much you're guaranteeing you'll be profitable and you'll be successful at the end. And of course, at the end, you have leverage, and that's how you manage your money. That's also important. But for me, it's very important you understand that topic of seeing how and why sales is so important. So I'm gonna run a little bit quicker, but and I don't want to go into detail. But as main sales strategies for diversification, and you have a horizontal and vertical growth, they focus on three things, and I also cited them in order of importance or priority I give my customers. The first one is selling the same products or services to your existing customers or markets. You already have a product you love, you know why you're producing it, and you already have these customers. So you try to penetrate more the market a little bit more. The second priority would be selling the same products to new customers. So you have the same products, you don't have to develop anything new, but once you know why you're doing it and what you're doing, so it's easy just to follow the next step and just get new customers. The third one, and maybe I'll stop there, it's to develop new products for existing customers. So you already have the customers already know you, they already believe in you, and so it's easy to just develop new products for them. I won't get into details, but if everybody goes through business school, you know this comes from the aims of metrics, and this was written in 1957 in Strategies for Diversification, the Harvard Business Review. So this is the four main strategies for driving growth. I cited them in order of importance for myself, and I crossed out diversification. And the last one, I would say, going to new markets with new customers, at least for small and medium enterprises, would be the last thing they should do. But as I told you, if we start selling the products to your existing customers, might be the first strategy I would suggest to my customers. And of course, we've been talking of why we do things, but also if you want to really convince the people, those customers, to buy you should also understand why they're buying your products. And we have four general types of customers. If you identify which is your market, we have the quality seekers that really don't care much about price, but they care about a good product. This could be one of your markets. You have also the service seekers. They really need to feel that you care for them. So for them, maybe the product is not as important as how you take care of them. Of course, then you have the price seekers. For them, of course, as I told you, price is going to be very important. And at the end, you have the satisfaction seekers. And these are motivated by status, security, and approval of others. So this is pretty much, if you know why you're doing things, you should know why they care. Why are they buying your products? So, okay, this is the second part of the journey I go through. And as I tell you, my recommendation is you have to build a strategy. Especially for SMEs, as I told you before, these are the three main parts I would suggest. And first of all would be to sell more. That will help you cover your further investments in the future. Second, build your infrastructure, which is part of your assets, of course, and that will support you for further growth. And of course, the third one is to the part of knowledge and hire and train and inspire the best people who will do the work ultimately. Okay, so we covered the first two parts of the journey. So the third one is stated here by Larry Bossidy and Ram Charan, an excellent book as well. The book is called Execution. It's been around for 20 years already. And they state that 70% of the strategic failures are due to poor execution leadership. It's rarely for a lack of smarts or a lack of vision. So yeah, you already have the purpose, you already have the strategy, but you need to know how to execute it. Because as I state here in my presentation, everything else will fall if you fail to execute. Despite its importance, execution is often handled poorly because several things. And this, you can find it in another interesting book by, I cannot really pronounce his name, but it's a book called Making Strategy Work, Leading Effective Execution and Change. And he cites top 5 problems managers face. And the first one is that most managers are trained to plan and they do not execute. Also, top managers believe that implementation is for lower level employees. So yes, it's so common that we see that, that top management gets together and they build these formidable strategies. Maybe they also have their purpose really aligned, but they don't get involved. They think that the people below them are the ones who are supposed to execute, and they forget that they're one of the main drivers to make things be well executed. The third one is planning and execution are highly interdependent. Managers often don't consider execution when they formulate their plans. So they come up with these really complex plans, but they don't know really how they're going to do it. And they really don't consider the resources they have, the infrastructure, the people that will drive the execution. So what we find in many of our customers is that at the end, they have great plans, they have great strategies, they have a great purpose, but they didn't consider how they were going to execute these plans. Another thing is that execution usually takes longer than formulating a strategy. So they formulate a strategy, they go out for retires, and they come up with this beautiful plans, but usually execution takes longer. It's an everyday task that you had to do for many years for it to succeed. And at the end, I would say strategy implementation always involves more people than the strategy formulation. So this is not for top management. This is for everybody. So how to do it? Returning also back to Ram Charan and Mr. Bossity, it's don't forget that execution is a discipline. It really involves discussing the how and what, and the following up, and the ensuring accountability of your employees to making sure that this really gets done at the end. Also, execution is a leader's job. So I told you, it's not the lower people who implement it. It's the leader's job to setting a strategy from the top. So execution must be led with deep personal involvement. The leaders should be really involved in what's happening. And the end is the execution must be central to the business culture. Execution must be embedded in the reward system and the norms of behaviors that everybody practices at the end. So it's part of having a discipline. It's part of the leader's job, and having a supporting culture all around the company that really supports everything. So really quick suggestions how to do it, and that's pretty much what we try to push our customers with. Is the first things is you have to lead by the example. So employees' behaviors are influenced more by the leader's actions than by words. It's not enough that you state it. You have to lead by the example and get involved. You have to also, number 2, be consistent. Employees need to know what to expect from the leaders to avoid confusion and inefficiency. The third suggestion is to be approachable. You cannot isolate yourself from the rest. Leaders need to be really close to their people who are actually executing. Fourth is to maintain the home front, nurture and support employees' personal lives. I mean, making part of the not only the organization as an employee and expecting a paycheck, but these people have lives, and so if you want to have meaning in your company, you have to help them find their meaning and their meaning within your organization. And at the end, I would say excel during adversity. Usually, adversity can bring teams together more than any failure. So any success, what I mean. So a few steps of handling a problem effectively: just remain calm, stall, dig, analyze, plan, and execute. And of course, very importantly, to communicate your decisions ultimately to your employees. And the third part, I remember I told you, is part of the culture. A part of leadership is very important, but you need to have the supporting culture to actually achieve this. And few of the suggestions I've put here, as I told you, listed all the references here. But some of these are really, really easy to follow. And one of them is to respect the microscope. That every move will be analyzed, and your more success your company achieves, the more intense the scrutiny you will have. The second one is share the spotlight. Don't Don't be the one who only wants to take the spotlight all the time. Your employees are the ones who are actually making things work. And the third is also involve others in shaping the business. As your company grows, you involve your most effective and dedicated employees in your discussions. The next one is to promote within. It sends a better message to the organization. So if you hire well, you bring the right people in, of course, it's going to send a very powerful message to your organization. And lastly, last but not least, communicate effectively. You have to communicate with the team, ensure everybody knows about everything that's going on. It's, plans are not secret, financials are not secret. As people know what's happening in the organization, they'll get more involved. So tell them about your new customers, your sales records, your financials, your reviews, everything. So they really get involved. And of course, this is also referenced from Mr. Kaplan. There's a great book called Be the Elephant, Build a Bigger, Better Business. So you can reference a lot. It's really useful, and I really suggest it. So that's the third part of the journey, and that's where I pretty much end. So if you follow these 3 good steps, ending with execution, and as I will tell you, if you want execution to be really a important part of the strategy, my suggestions are to make the execution part of everyday life, implement your leadership skills, and as again, I repeat, establish a culture around execution. So pretty much ending up pretty close. So I'll have some questions at the end. But at the end, if you follow these 3 steps, pretty much from my experience from several years now from doing this, which I as I told everybody, I really love and really enjoy, we pretty much see that our customers are successful. And to round things up, to guarantee execution, you can implement software tools that are very, very handful, and you can help you achieve the flawless executions. And here that I personally can recommend Fruit Strategy, which are our sponsors. They're great tools that would help you with this. Although my job is a bit different when I stated when I started, and is to my job here is to seek that small businesses that want a trusted advisor like me, and who can guide them through their journey, which I already told you I'm pretty much synthesized in 3 easy steps. And as I told you in the title of my presentation, is I really want to empower them. And our job is not here to say, okay, we're the guys who know everything. We share our knowledge. We want to be your trusted advisor. So please learn from what we've learned. We have plenty of experience and academic background, and I'm personally a guy who likes to investigate. So as you can see, I do my research once in a while, and so we really would like to have customers who want us to be part of the journey. And of course, that's where we come up, and we really team well from people like from Fruit Strategy that provide the perfect tools for you to achieve the success you're looking for. So pretty much from the presentations, I just to round them up, I of course I referenced everything, and there's many articles I include in the presentation, which I'm happy to share. But I just invite you to take a look of some of the books that are some of my personal favorite ones. Pretty much, if you've gone through business school or something like that, you pretty much probably read a few of them. But I just like to list them here. First of all, Making Strategy Work by Lawrence. The other one I mentioned a lot was Built to Last by Collins and Porras. Execution by Larry Bossidy and Ram Charan. Beat the Elephant by Steve Kaplan. The One Hour Entrepreneur Leadership, which gives you great information how to be a good leader in smaller companies. That's what they want to work with. By Steve, this is Peterson. And the last 2 ones are the 4 disciplines of execution, which are pretty much what we try to implement, so people actually can implement their execution and follow them up. really works together well with the software we've been seeing before. And the one I started everything with, I should have put it at the first time, which is Start With Why from Simon Sinek. And of course, these are the other references I made throughout the presentation. As I told you, you're welcome to take them. I'm really open to share them. And if you're really interested in these topics I talked about today, you can also write me directly. Putting here my email here, and you can write me directly, or my WhatsApp. I'm based here in the Netherlands. We're opening an office here in the Netherlands, and we just started a business a few weeks back. And as I told you, I come from Guatemala. And also, my phone number from Guatemala is also available, and feel free to contact me. So I'll end the presentation here, and I think we still have like 5 more minutes. If you guys have any questions, please. I don't know exactly how this works, but I think
Yeah.
I'll stop sharing, and maybe if anybody has a question, they can type them up here in the comments or the private chat, I think.
Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you very much. You're able to give fantastic presentation, and I like the subject of the sales. Okay, I think the performance is not only for finance and other things. The sales is one of the most important.
Oh,
like
definitely. I know people try to say, "Oh, the bottom line." Of course, the bottom line. But if I've seen many examples where people are like, "Oh, you should cut costs here and everything," but never ever underestimate if you cut costs if it's gonna be in detriment of your sales. So, and of course, we're seeing our customers are small businesses, so we want them to grow. So the first thing is just really know your like I told you, really know your purpose, why you're doing this, and know your customers, and have a clear strategy how you're gonna service your customers. As I told you, know your why, but also know their why they're buying your products. So that's pretty much one of the key ingredients for obtaining success for our customers.
Perfect. So, especially your focus is mid-size and smaller organizations.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, if let us say if you want to do a business transformation, or you call it as a strategy transformation, so how do you engage with them? So in a simple steps. So what is your approach? Like I know all these things is you have, like, so you start with assessment kind of thing. How long it will take?
Yeah. Like,
You do offline? You visit them? So what is your approach?
Abdul, pretty much what I presented today is our process and kind of like the journey we do together. As I told you, I think I mentioned it in the first slide. We're a boutique consulting company, so we're not big. So we're just our company was born from some ex-Shell executives. We got together and we were really great professionals, and we got to know each other, and we worked together for several years before they divested the operations in Central America. So we know each other from a long time. So, and as I told you, we're a very boutique consulting company. So our reach is not that big in certain ways, and people know us. And well, you know, our CEO, one of our partners as well, and he's very well known in our country. So of course we're trying now to expand to Europe and the Netherlands, where I'm based right now. We just opened an office, but many of us are made through referrals. Our customers come through referrals. Of course, we have some kind of digital strategy to reach our customers, but we mostly work through referrals. And of course, once we refer to, we usually start with an assessment. Part of our assessments are very important, so we know where their company is. We plan out and drive them through this journey, which I told you about. And the third part, which is very important, and that's very important for us, is that part of execution. That's why I mentioned execution. It's very important, but it's the one that takes longer. So we don't expect just to come in, give you this big book and leave it and cost you a fortune, and we just say goodbye. Most of our customers expect us to stay, and they invite us. I've even done a few works myself where the company has asked me to step in and work directly with them. So I'm not a consultant anymore. I've become like interim general manager for some companies, because what they want is, okay, they say you already helped us with or having our purpose in line, having the right strategies, but man, we need help implementing, we need help executing, and that's an everyday work. It's not something you come up and you just hand in the little book here, and you have to guide them, grab them by the hand, and take them through the execution. And because many of them, as Ram Charan said, is 70% of these companies, they might have the perfect strategy, the perfect purpose, but they're failing at the time of execution. So that's where we come in, and we also help them with execution. And of course, I told you, we love doing this, and of course, we like to make money. I mean, we have to pay for business, but I think we're driven more because of a purpose, and that's why I take this very personally, and I try to show you what the process or the journey is if you work with us throughout this company. So at the end, talk a little bit more about it, and I think what really has difference us is, yes, part of why we do this, but also is that part of our value proposition to our customers, that we really help them with the part of this implementation and execution at the long run. After, of course, we did all the the previous parts of the initial assessment and building the strategy. Of course, at the end, the implementation is part of our stronger parts.
Fantastic. So thank you very much, Alejandro. So we wish you good luck, and we keep connected. Okay. So how can we help the mid-size and smaller organizations together? Okay.
Of course, and I hope we continue to work together, and we're happy to continue promoting and suggesting the great products our sponsors also provide, because of course we would be here because of them.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alejandro. So if any question is due, so we'll write it up, and then we can get it answered.
Yeah, I haven't seen any questions. I was expecting to see that.
Yeah, because it says running time schedules, and okay.
Yeah.
So the next speaker will join from US.
Okay.
So the time constraint, and also there are offline messages are coming up now because somebody is watching in YouTube and they're posting as a personal note. So we'll just compile and reach it to you to get them answered. Okay.
Awesome. Great.
The event is there tomorrow, the same time, the full day event tomorrow. So if it is possible for you to join, just join us. Maybe you can answer some questions there.
Of course. Thank you, Abdul.
So thank you, Alejandro. Thank you very much for a fantastic presentation and insights about the methodologies, and then the simplified approach, and it's a robust understanding of the overall transformation. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Abdul.
Thank you.